Hello, somebody. I hope everybody out there having a great day. I just wanted to take a moment to talk recruiting, in particular high school recruiting, and for students who are in postgrad or in a transfer portal. This message is for you. Over the past, let's say, five some odd years, our company, Conquer Sports, we've been in business since 2017. But even after that, I would say I started to see a shift in a transition in recruiting and how the traditional way of recruiting isn't really around as it used to be, even more now for sure with the NIL and the way the transfer portal is structured. But I thought that it would be important today to share a message to families, student athletes who are thinking about continuing your football career as a student athlete in college. This message is for you. This message is even if you don't have a son or a daughter that's in this position that's looking to go to college, you can share it with a friend because this information I'm about to share is important and it will help navigate you guys through the recruiting process. So the way it used to be, traditionally we would get the kids huddles, we would send it out to the coaches would take a look. They would have players that would go on traditional route. Now, mind you, this is all before COVID-19. They would then check a kid out, have them visit, so on and so forth. Either offer a kid a PWO, or they may offer a kid a scholarship. The PWOs were much different back then because, again, this was before NIL deals were able to be made. So that's important because our company, through our consultation at that time, would just have the normal process. So this dates it back to when we were helping Donald Bernard, which Donald Bernard is a starting defensive tackle for Navy. Adonis Furlow, who is at Tulane now. Leland Jones. Leland went to prep school route, ended up going to Sam Houston after that. So it was more traditional, but you can see the shift, if you know what I mean. So fast forward to today. Today, the way it is basically you have NIL money on the table. The transfer portal rules are much different than definitely way before when I played. Like, I could probably count on one hand a couple of my teammates transferred out, and that was necessary half of the time. You know, my shouts out to my brother Ali Broussard. He had to get up out there. He saw the politics dip. You heard me. Of course, more popular, my brother Ryan Perilou. You know, he had to get in the portal transfer because obviously there was some conduct issues. So it was more reasons. Nowadays, y'all sign too many DBs. Spring ball, too competitive. I'm transferring. Like, it's a different ball game, which is understood. You know, these young men are making business decisions. We have a young man from Louisiana, Trey Palmer, who went to LSU, transferred out, and then played more than what he would have played at LSU. Ran like a 4.3 at the combine. His stock's up. So it's a business decision for these young men. So I respect that. Being a player who played in the early to mid 2000s and understands what this is, and currently working with LSU Sports Radio, being around student athletes all the time, having family that's student athletes, having a son who again, Kentrell's situation is very unique because he was like a couple of our other students with Conquer. He was what I like to call a COVID baby. Now, what's a COVID baby? Here's a student athlete who was a junior or senior when COVID hit. Their seasons got interrupted. You couldn't get out to the camps. You couldn't get out to the clinics. This is important. That's why, look, y'all, I might talk 10 minutes because this is not going on the rail. This is going on IGTV and Facebook and all of that because it's that important of information because what's going on is families are making decisions, student athletes are making decisions, and the surface has changed so much beyond y'all's understanding. So that's why I really want to be detailed. So with my son as a family, now, this is a guy that's in the trenches, played professional ball, played, college, was a All-American high school, and everything was highly recruited about what happened. Shouts out to Coach Hank Tierney and my entire coaching staff there. Did an excellent job at really grooming me to be a student athlete on the next level, a professional too. So I want to include all that when I talk about my son, Kentrell, and kids like him. Kentrell, his senior year, Cole's kicking camp, #1 punter in our region, number 33, which gave him a 5-star in our area. His sophomore and junior year, he excelled as a punter, made all district, really started to emerge as an athlete his senior year. He had 10 touchdowns for De La Salle. Again, the Cole kicking camp accolades on average. Shouts out to my bro Kedrick. Kedrick, he would text me all the time, "Fave, where you at? You got to catch him at warm-ups, boy. This boy is booting this ball." And then in the game, you can check Trell's film out. What happened is he was in the trenches of this recruiting process. What I mean by that is COVID-19, coaches can't get out. We had to, for all of our players, we had to have film, record them doing the drills that they would normally see them do at one of their camps at whatever university. So that's important because for him, he was able to get out to a couple camps, McNeese camp. I mean, obviously Frank Wilson, that's fam, who's currently at LSU. That's my bro. So we knew people, we brought our players. I'm just sharing Kentrell's story because it's unique. We had to go to Atlanta to the Coles kicking camp, get his film out there. That's advice I would give any special teams. Go to the Chris Sales camp or the Coles kicking camp, get rated as a specialist. So we did that. We went through that whole process. He had some things he had to get right academically. So he had offers on the table like Grambling University, who's still interested, Nicholls State, who's still interested, but he had to go through a different process. And this is where the rubber meets the road. And I want to tell you all about this. The process for a kid like Kentrell, so we went to Mississippi Prep. He went to Mississippi Prep because he became eligible for Division I school. He went to De La Salle High School here in New Orleans. So he became eligible academically when his second semester grades came in when he graduated. But at that point, signing day is over, so couldn't sign with Grambling at the time. And that's on Kentrell. I'm not calling him out, but this is just something that happened that slipped through the cracks for him. But this was his best year. So he went to prep school as an eligible Division I player, had his grades and everything. Pat had a good ACT score. Once they tried like a 19, 20, something like that. I'm throwing numbers out there. I don't have it in front of me. Hello, somebody. But he went to Mississippi Prep, had 11 touchdowns, and still averaged right at about 50 to 61 yards a punt. So he's going through the recruiting process right now. They have a couple of Division I mentioned a few schools still interested in him. He has some visits set up to a couple of other schools as well here in April. So he's still going through the process. Now, here's a kid who graduated class of 22, took the 2022 season to go to a prep school, finished at the prep school, and now he's not in the transfer portal. He's a postgrad kid looking to be signed. We have kids that right now in our class of 2023 class that's available. Some of them took PWOs, which made sense for them to do. Some of them signed scholarship deals. The surface is much different. I'll dive back into that information for you guys. I talked about how the process normally would have to happen. You would go through, the coach will check you out, they'll have more time to develop you. Nowadays is a bit different because nowadays, because of the transfer portal, you can get a seasoned, more mature player from another school. Case in point, kid Jack Besh, right? Signed to LSU, had an excellent year as a freshman. His sophomore season was a bit different. He made the business decision to transfer out of LSU, hops in the transfer portal. Now, for those coaches who are looking for wide receivers and skilled specialists and tight ends, because this kid, he reminds me a lot of my son, except he's not a punter. But just the hands, the athleticism, the route running. He has that type of build. So he gets in the portal, Couple weeks later, he had TCU. That's what high school recruiting is up against. Players from JUCOs. Now, traditionally, you'll get guys from JUCO. I'll give you guys an example real quick. Demetrius Byrd, my teammate at LSU. Demetrius didn't come to LSU when I came to LSU. I came in the traditional way, 17 years old, signed a letter of intent. I'm on full scholarship as a freshman. I redshirted my freshman year with Coach Saban, and I lettered 3 years with Miles. So that was a different situation. Demetrius Byrd gets there my junior year. He doesn't redshirt nothing. He plugs and plays a starting receiver. But he came from JUCO. National champion at JUCO or runner-ups, whatever he was at that point. Bird, excuse me for butchering that piece, but the point I'm making is we became teammates in 2007. At that point, I'm a redshirt junior here, true junior, true senior. Bird gets drafted. So the JUCOs has been around. So now it's prep schools. They've been around. But now with the transfer portal, you're up against guys who may have started at a school like an LSU or a Tulane or Southern Miss or some school like that. They're more attractive in the portal than a high school student. Now, does that mean it's over for high school recruiting? No. I mean, you have guys that still sign a traditional way. We have a kid trained with us, done some consultation here with us with Conquer Sports, Ashton Stamps. Trains over there with my brother Robbie at DPT training. And the deal with Ashton, he went to traditional route. He balled out as a cornerback, so as a position that you can fill in. You could be a safety, you could be a corner. It's more opportunity there, but he balled out at the camps. He ran the high 40. He did all this stuff right, got a handful of offers, and ended up signing to LSU the traditional way. So it's still around. We have a couple kids with Conquer right now that's being heavily recruited. One I'll mention is Carnell Harris at St. Aug. He's we call him Big Cheese. He's a junior going into his senior year, but he's already had a lot of offers and is going to get more offers because he just keeps getting better. So I use him because when you're already on the board, like once you get to the end of the spring of your junior year, if you don't have a lot of offers, that doesn't mean you won't get in your senior year, but it puts you in a higher percentage of having to take the new route. The new route is, like Kentrell, go to a prep school, stay active. He hadn't missed a football season. Stay active, 1. 2, don't downplay the D2 schools and the D3 schools. I've talked to a lot of my buddies, a few folks that we've worked with over the years, even coaches in our database, about that. You know, do you guys actually look at D2 schools and JUCOs and those different types of schools to get players to come on your roster? And the answer was yes. So they understand. It's turning into like a mini NFL, right? What do you mean by that, Fave? I'll explain. Hello. What I mean by it's turning into a mini NFL, it's in the NFL. Okay, I'll give you guys a quote. College recruiting to high school. So when a college recruiter looks at a high school student, they're recruiting him off of potential, right? So if a kid is 6'8", 300 pounds, they might offer him on the spot because of his size. The NFL don't offer or scout potential draft picks off of potential. They're looking for football players. This is professional football. So when they're looking at a guy, they may look at a D2 school, a D3 school, Division I school. You know, they may look at those schools for the players. Well, what do you mean? What I mean by that is I went to LSU on one of the biggest stages, won a national championship, and I was an undrafted free agent. My teammate Pierre Gonson, shouts out to Pierre. We were teammates twice. We played on the same team with the Washington football team, and we also played at the Commanders. And I just couldn't think about it in the moment, so I did it like that. And then we were teammates with the Colts. So he was a Division III player. He went to Mount Union. Another one of my teammates with Arena Football was his quarterback, Kurt Rocco. He was my teammate with the New Orleans Voodoo. Now, if I went to LSU and Pierre went to Division III Mount Union School, how he get drafted? I think he was drafted in the 6th round of the coach. How he get drafted and I go undrafted, I go to because the NFL, not giving myself any slight. I mean, at the time, it wasn't a big spin or a big push on D tackles. It would have probably been better if I came out the year before. Might have had opportunity to get drafted, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you go. They're looking for the best players that they need. So I've had teammates that went to Division IIs, Division IIIs like Pierre, Mount Union, and they balled out. So that's because he ran a fast 40. He did all the drills the way they wanted to, and he fit the mold of that team. So that's how he got the opportunity. You get what I'm saying? So know that. I'll say it again. College scouts recruit based off of potential. 6'8", 300 pounds. 4'3". I mean 4'3", not 4'3". 4.340. Got the hands, just intangibles. They bringing it in because they want to coach it up and make it bringing that person in to make them a professional player. Whereas on the other end, the NFL, professional sports, you got the XFL, Canadian Football League. I was blessed to play in 3 leagues: the UFL, which is like the USFL now, and arena football, and of course the NFL. So they have more leagues and there's more opportunities. But again, don't get discouraged, student athletes. You can have an opportunity to live your dream if you continue to work hard and just be a better, whatever sport, football, basketball, baseball, fencing, I don't care, golf. It don't matter, whatever it is you want to do, be competitive. That's what really oversees everything else. Anything else is irrelevant. Keep grinding. So I'll wrap up with that. Remember, it's much different now. There's NIL deals, meaning there's money on the table, so you'll get a PWO and a guy. You can work any deal, right? It's nothing. It's perfectly legal. Name, image, likeness. There's the transfer portal that's much less. It's much bigger now. The whole jump through that portal is much bigger than when we were playing, right? Much more, big different rules, so on and so forth. Know that, and then just remember, make sure that you contact these coaches. You hit them up on your Twitter. You send your film out. Be open-minded. You don't have to go to a FCS or FBF school you don't have to go to Nicholls State. You don't have to go to Tulane. I'm saying these schools because I live in Louisiana, but there are other schools, and see how it works out. Like, shouts out to Norman Hand, great, Saint Great. His son, Trey Hand. Trey trains with us. Trey's one of our student athletes. Trey's in his 3rd season at Arkansas Monticello, doing a great job competing. Trey led the NCAA for interior defensive tackles and sacks for like 2 weeks. I think he had like a half a sack and a sack or something like that. A sack and a half. I forget, Trey. Sorry for messing up. I'm just using this example, meaning you can ball and go anywhere, and he still has the same opportunity at defensive tackle that his brother Adonis furloughed, my boy Adonis, who plays for Tulane. They're 2 different schools, same opportunity. So make sure you grind, put God first, check off all the boxes. You got to academically qualify, so you have to have the GPA. ACT does help. I know in some schools the NCAA doesn't really pick that up anymore or look at that. Have your ACT scores, send film out. Now, get help. You can hit up our company, Conquer Sports Pros. Y'all can DM me or however y'all want to reach us, or you can email us your information on over, and we can see what we can do for you. I have that information under the text. But y'all remember, keep your eyes on the prize. You can do it. Football isn't over for you if you don't get a holler from a coach. It's just a different process. Oh, one more thing. What's the process that's going? These coaches, it's scholarship opportunities still out there. So what I mean by that is, and this is important, so if y'all got to fast forward to this part, do that. Just because you didn't sign on early signing day in December and February doesn't mean it's over. You should still be applying to these schools or your school of desire, the desired school you want to go and walk on to. Get in contact with the coaches, send them your film. It's still a way of getting in. If it doesn't work, you can transfer schools. Remember, it's not a big deal to transfer anymore. But go to a prep school or go somewhere and get the information. Start to really, tie down a lot of those things that you need to go to school. Don't sit out. if you can help it. If you have an extra plan or you want to go a different direction, that's fine. But if you still want to do this, you could do it. It's tons of schools out there. It's not look beyond where you're from locally and look into some other places. It's need-based as well. It's about the need of the team. If a team doesn't need the player, they're not going to look for it. So there's still spring ball at these schools. Guys may transfer out or they might want to look a different direction. And if your film's right there in front of them, the best ability, somebody, is availability. So if they have your stuff, you're there. So definitely hit us up, Conquer Sports Pros. You could go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to Conquer Sports Pros, check out what we do. You can also DM us. That's probably the quickest way to get to me. DM me at our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Or you could just DM my big fave. I'll be sure to get the information over to our staff so we can get y'all going, because we do have a consultation program where we help get your film out to the coaches and really just check off those boxes with you, really talk to you and give you the proper consultation to go through the things right. And remember, my own family, my son's not at a big school right now, a couple of big schools looking at him, but he's just like us. And I've been in this business for almost 10 years on this side of things, and he's sending his tape out to coaches, hitting them up on their Twitter, doing all the necessary things to be in front of them. Just because they don't holler at the time, that don't mean somewhere down the line they may need you, or they know someone in the coaching circle, or they might transfer too. They might go to a different team. They have your information and that need. So remember that. Y'all hit me up. Coaches, if y'all need help too, scouting players, we have a handful, a good bit of players in our database, and a couple of players for class of 2024, 25, 26, and 27. Those classes are insane. But y'all be blessed, and y'all take care. Peace.